gone for it. There it is.
So I knew him very well, and we met once a week over coffee, or he'd come into the office. I was sort of emotionally attached to him he's a shy boy, of course.
It was both the Bulldogs salary cap scandal in 2002 and then the Melbourne Storm salary cap scandal in 2010.
I don't think they should be showing off those trophies. They didn't win it legally.
Cometh the hour, cometh the legend. Greatness, Winx has done it.
I said the modern day Farlap, a horse that stopped the nation.
Yeah.
The product was so good, it created this massive corporate shit fight. James Packer rang me, tried to get me out of news over to their side as part of the propaganda campaign. Personally rang me. Gus is still dirty about it. I'm sure that's one of the reasons behind I know it is.
Well, we've made it. Number one. We're in good company. We have Phil Buzz Rothfield here to reveal his top 100 sporting moments across an illustrious 50 years in sports journalism. What a treat it is, Buzz, to be sitting here with you, going through, basically just picking the old boy's brain. Going through and just, it's like a file of facts, going through every sporting moment that you've either covered or sat in the hot seat as the editor to pull together the Daily Telegraph's coverage across 50 years.
Been a fascinating project, Dave, going back and, reviving memories of great on and off field moments. And
it's quite surreal, Buzz, isn't it? When you actually sit down and compile a list of moments.
Well, you think of what's happened since 1976, 50 years ago in sport. Where were you in 76?
I wasn't born.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? And it's so much different now because of the way people, take in their news off their phones or their... But back then it was just really the newspaper, a little bit of black and white television, but no live sport as such.
So, Buzzy, let's start the countdown to number one. We're going to get there with number 36. It's the last ball ton at the SCG. Now, if you think about sporting crowds as far as the raucous ceremony of a filled stadium, there was nothing more special than what was achieved at the SCG in the 2002-2003 summer. Let's take a look at it.
There it is. Wow, one ball to be bowled. Steve Waugh on 98. It's gone for it. There it is.
How good was that, Buzz? Steve Waugh.
Oh,
Look
mate.
Look, he loves this.
Well, I tell you why it was even more special for me. I had the best seat in the house. I was with my great mate Dean Bulldog Rich and a few others. We're in the long bar at the cricket ground, right next to the Australian dressing room, one of those round tables right at the window, the beer flowing and the celebrate. We all stood outside, we were chanting his name. It was particularly special for me because I was the ghostwriter for Steve Waugh's column at the time.
At the time?
Yeah, so I knew him very well, and we met once a week over coffee, or he'd come into the office and, we'd write it. So I was sort of emotionally attached to him he's a shy boy, of course. Mate, it was unforgettable. I'll tell you a funny story. It was so historic. So I had my member's ticket, and Bulldog had his member's ticket. Next time I caught up with Steve Waugh, I said, can you sign them?
Yeah.
So he signed both of them, right? And we're going to frame it with,
Yeah, terrific.
Guess what? I lost Bulldog's ticket.
Ah!
I swear. And I wouldn't give him mine. I dead set lost it. He has still not forgiven me. I only kept mine because my younger brother, I wanted to give him to him for his 40th birthday, and he was a Steve Waugh fanatic, I couldn't give him But,
Doggy's never forgiven you.
Mate, cricket ground moments. My goodness.
Yeah, extraordinary. For all the great sporting moments, there's always the tough ones, and this one came as a surprise, like most scandals do, Buzz. It was both the Bulldogs salary cap scandal in 2002 and then the Melbourne Storm salary cap scandal in 2010. The Bulldogs They were fined $500,000, Buzz, and stripped of all 37 competition points at the time for systematic breaches.
Yeah.
The total $2.1 million over 3 seasons.
Well, they were lucky to get over 500k. 37 points was heavy, but you remember the club owned that Oasis project.
Yep.
And there were huge developers involved in that, and the players had 2 contracts. The developers were paying them a certain fee, and the club was paying them a certain fee. Very, very stressful story at the time to cover because there were people on both sides leaking a lot of information. But the NRL did the right thing.
Yeah.
It was a horrible, horrible episode in Canterbury history.
I think it was as bad as it was. I think it was an important. I think all salary cap infringements, and when the NRL's doing their job, it actually shows that the NRL are keeping clubs to account, and that was the case, and certainly again it was at the Melbourne Storm in 2010.
The penalty will be the stripping of 3 minor premierships and 2 premierships, the return of $1.1 million in prize money that will be distributed to the other 15 clubs evenly, a fine of $500,000. In the 2010 season, all competition points earned thus far will be taken away, and the team shall not accrue any further points in the 2010 season.
And then famously Craig Bellamy marching the team across the field.
I've been blown with Storm still about this story, because if you go down there, they've still got the 7 and 9 trophies on display, and I don't think they should be on display.
You went down to try and...
Oh, that was a funny
Didn't you? You went down to try and take them back.
When they were stripped of the premiership, video was in its early days in newspapers, so I went down there with a video camera. A guy followed me. I banged on the front door and said, "I'm here to collect the trophy and take it back to Sydney." Not surprisingly, I was tiptoed out. I can still see Frank Panisi's phone in the back of the room, Dave Donaghy's now chairman of CEO
of the Broncos.
Of the Broncos. He was looking after me. He came out and said, "Buzz, go away. You're not getting." So, tough story. Greg Inglis, we're round at his house. His garage door was up. Inside was a boat, which had been gifted as part of that rorting. Players were getting store cards. Players were getting 2 contracts. Brian Waldron, the CEO, fell on his sword. The directors, fell over. It was, I don't think they should be showing off those trophies.
Melbourne Storm.
Because they didn't win it legally.
Yeah. Melbourne Storm administration still have issues with former NRL CEO at the time, David Gallop, who put the infringements in place.
I actually applaud Gallop for his leadership, because it was a really tough one. The game was still half owned by News Corp, and guess who owned Melbourne Storm? News Corp. So he had to turn on the half owners of the game and come down I thought it was really good, strong leadership.
I love how high you've got this one, Buzz. Coming in at number 14 is the mighty Winx.
It's Winx in front by a leg. Ben Battle's going with her. Winx 3/4, Ben Battle. Winx is staving off Ben Battle. Cometh the hour. Cometh the legend. Greatness. Winx has done it.
I said the modern day Farlap.
Yeah.
A horse that stopped the nation.
Yeah.
Again, I'd talk about the difficulty. Poor old Ray Thomas at Randwick trying to, how many in a row did you say?
33 straight.
Try writing 33 stories on a horse bolting. I tell you something harder, because I was sitting in the chair at Sunday Telegraph Sport trying to write headlines. And every win, the horse became more famous. There's only so many times that you can do a Winx headline.
Yeah.
And what a horse.
What a horse.
We talk about the Everest and what Volandis did with the Everest. What the Winx story brought people back to racing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people who didn't even punt would turn on the television to watch this mighty horse. Mate,
it was like the old days, as you said, it was like Farlap, wasn't it? It was like you'd go to the track and everyone was in blue and white.
And you talk about 33 race winning, record, 33 straight. It won a world record 25 Group 1s.
It's extraordinary.
Now, for non-punters here, a Group 1 is like a grand final.
Yeah.
It won more than $26 million in prize money.
And Buzz, was it the Saturday afternoon we were in the office together compiling the Sunday telly that you picked up the phone to Kenny Calendar?
Yeah, I did.
And it was at that moment he gave you one of the great quotes about Winx.
Yeah, it was 16 straight wins. So I rang Kenny Calendar, and Kenny's been around forever, longer than anyone. I think, the best person to go to for an opinion. And he gave me that quote, she's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, extraordinary.
Coming from Kenny, that'll do me. Rubber stamp, but
Bang.
Official, she's the best I've ever seen.
Well, if you cover the game of rugby league, you could make a case that this could come in at Buzz's number 1. However, it comes in at number 4, the Super League War.
The battle for rugby league supremacy is now in the hands of the fans. They'll decide who's the winner now that 2 competitions seem certain for next season.
Extraordinary, Buzz, as far as a story goes and what it did for the game.
Unbelievable story. Kerry Packer wanting the television rights, the Murdoch family wanting television rights, with the launch of paid TV on the horizon. They both wanted rugby league to make it work, and it was a credit to the administrators and the players at the time that the product was so good it created this massive corporate shit fight. And we had the game fractured like never before. We had 2 competitions. Super League, how many teams they have? 10. The ARL had 12 teams. Clubs went broke. We lost North after their merge with South got chucked out. Then they had the massive street rally. Tell you why it was a real difficult story for me personally to cover is that all my mates, the Quails, the Arthasons, the Fultons, they were in the trenches for the ARL. I worked for News Corp.
Super League aligned.
And guess who paid my wage? Guess who was helping me buy a house? And, you've got to be loyal to your employer. Somehow I tried to juggle it, play it down the middle, and be fair. It was so much going on. James Packer rang me, tried to get me out of News over to their side as part of the propaganda campaign. Personally rang me.
Is that right?
He wanted me to work at Rugby League. He wanted me on the Footy Show, wanted me on Alan Jones, all that sort of thing. It was so much propaganda. And it was nasty, mate. Friendships were busted forever.
Yeah, wow.
And
do you think there's still friendships that are busted over?
I do, mate. I do. Yes. Some people just would not forgive. Gus is still dirty about it. I'm sure that's one of the reasons behind our. Well, I know it is. He was offered work at News Corp, Gus, after the war, over many periods, but he just couldn't stand, what happened back then. But you know what? When you look back at it, it was something a bit like World Series cricket at the time. Look at the innovation that came out of World Series cricket with one-dayers and coloured clothing, and Kerry Packer built the floodlights of the cricket ground. Sometimes these things, while they aren't all that pleasant, what it did for player salaries and professionalism was, they're benefiting from today,
Changed the game.
And I must say that, I was under a little bit of pressure there, to get the ARL point of view in the paper. But generally, I was treated very fairly by the bosses.
Were you pleased when the game came back together again?
Oh, mate, was I what? We all wanted our rugby league back. And, I was a Cronulla fan. Well, Cronulla in Super League. When Cronulla, I couldn't get the Roosters down there to play. Couldn't get South down there to play. All these traditional clubs remained. Couldn't get Manly down there to play. And having our great game back was a massive celebration.
Well, we've made it. Number 1 in Buzz's top 100 sporting moments across an amazing career of 50 years in sports journalism. Buzz, well done, mate.
On you, buddy.
Well done. I'll tell you why, you've nailed this.
You reckon I have?
Yeah.
Well,
number 1, Shane Warne, the ball of the century.
Against the old enemy, England, coming into bowl, my first ever ball to Mike Gadding, their best player of spin. And it was just one of those balls that came out of the hand nicely. Just drifted, spun, Gadding missed it. And I think the euphoria after that, at the time, you just thought, oh, it was a good delivery. Like, oh, right, who's in next? And it just sort of grown, just kept getting replayed, that ball, and then got known as the ball of the century, the best ball ever bowled. But yeah, it definitely did change my life.
That ball, I've written about it. I said it curved, dipped, and then inconceivably spun from way outside the leg stump. And no player in the history of the game, Sir Donald Bradman wouldn't have been in a position to defend his wicket in a moment like that. And that it was Warnie's first in England. Took 708 wickets all up. He took 999 first-class wickets in all forms of the game.
Extraordinary.
But that ball, funny thing, I met Mike Gatting when he was a 17-year-old.
Wow.
I was at the cricket ground. We were covering a Shield game, and he was out here with the junior English side. Must have been in the 70s and late 70s. And saw him there, and then he's part of history. And I think he enjoys being part of history.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not as if he played the ball badly.
Yeah. He did what we all would.
He's made a quid out of that ball.
Has he?
Oh, as the speaker.
As a speaker, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The victim of the ball of the century.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Warnie, the other reason I got him number one is because he has been such a human headline.
Mm.
And I went through everything I've covered in 50 years. No one has had more front pages.
Mm.
No one has had more online clicks. Mate, I don't want to go into this, but he's had some colourful moments
He
too.
certainly has. He certainly has, yeah.
You know, the John the bookie
with
Mark Waugh.
Yeah.
He had the drug thing. He was suspended, said it was mum's headache pills.
That's right.
And then the tragic death.
Mm.
So much, you know.
He was just 52.
Yeah, 52 years of age in
2022.
Thailand on a holiday. And you know what? He was still very much part of our lives through Foxtel and our lounge room every summer. And he was a brilliant analyst. He used to be able to tell you over prior what was going to happen.
Yep.
And so he's there as the human headline as much as the ball of the century.
Yep.
An absolutely phenomenal,
figure.
Sporting great.
Yep. As I said, Buzz, you've nailed it. The top 100 sporting moments. It would have been very difficult to do, but absolutely Shane Warne's ball of the century, number one.